Today's video is not sponsored, but Good Pick sent me out one of their woven baskets to try. Good Pick baskets are made of natural materials and are safe enough for pets and have a simple but modern design. They are easy to match and decorate for any place in your house. They are a #1 seller on Amazon, and I will have their link down below.
Hey everyone, my name is Mars, like the planet, and this is Housewarming. I make videos about houseplants, home ownership, and honest living. Today it is a lazy Sunday afternoon, and I'm just really having a lot going on right now in my life. My friend recently had her first baby. There's a lot going on with work and things like that. So I just thought it was a great time just to take a break and look at some houseplants that I have in my house. Today I'm going to be going through every single room in my house and showing you all of the plants that I have. I will say that a lot of the plants that I have are very, very low maintenance. So if you are looking for inspiration for plants to buy for your home, this would be a great start, just because I don't like to keep plants that are super finicky, that need a lot of care or anything like that. So let's get started. So starting out in our kitchen, we have we have a very small west facing window. So this kitchen is fairly dark. There is not a lot of plants that we can put in here, but on the shelf, we like to put our propagations. Now, if you are interested in propagating plants, which basically means taking a cutting, sitting it in some water, and then watching the roots grow, and then you can take that cutting and plant it up. I've already made a video on propagating. If you're interested in doing that or wondering how to do that process, I will link that video down below if you want to check it out. But one of my favorite things to do is collect jars while we are traveling. So you can see right here, this one is from Texas. I'm taking a cutting from my pothos plant, and all I do is just stick it in some water and wait for the roots to grow. I will show you one. See. Okay, so this one has a ton of roots growing right here. This is a scindapsus that I took a cutting of, and you can see how long the roots are and how fuzzy they are. So I could honestly plant this up right now, but I love looking at the roots. So when I am ready, I can just take this out, pop it into some soil, and it is good to go and keep on growing. I like to change the water out every 3 to 5 days, just because you can see that a little bit of algae does form at the bottom, but it is also nice to keep replenishing the oxygen, because sitting water loses oxygen. And also sitting in front of that very warm window, it can lose oxygen as well. So you just want to keep making sure that you're filtering out the water so the plant continues to grow roots. Okay, so let's head into the living room and we can check out the plants in there. Okay, so right when you walk into the living room, I have this peace lily. This is a peace lily that I got from my grandmother's funeral about a year ago, and you can even see that it is producing a flower right here. I'm super happy about that. But peace lilies are very large plants that really do not need a lot of maintenance or work or upkeep. They can survive in very low light situations. This one is about 10 feet away from a north facing window as well as a south facing window. So you can even see that this area is not that bright. But peace lilies do require a lot of water. So if you are gone for extended periods of time, maybe you travel or things like that, maybe peace lilies aren't really for you. While they are low maintenance, they do tend to wilt very heavily when they need water. Now, if your peace lily starts to wilt, don't worry about it. All you do is give it a drink of water and it will pop right back up within a few hours. Okay, so my next two plants are right here in front of this east facing window, which means that it gets very bright morning light. So this is my Rhaphidophora tetrasperma. You can see how tall it has gotten. I actually picked this up from a farmer's market, I think, and it was sold for a really, really good price. So I picked it up because a couple of years ago, Rhaphidophoras were super, super popular. So they were going for a very pretty penny, and I do not like to spend a lot of money on plants at all. So Rhaphidophoras, I know the name can sound a little bit scary, but they're also called a Swiss cheese vine, I think, if you see the common name. But you can see that it is putting out a brand new leaf right here. During the spring and summer months, it grows a new leaf probably every 2 weeks or so. It is always putting on growth. This one is also very great for propagation. So you can just take one of the cuttings, pop it in some water, and you can place the cutting back in with the mother plant, or you can put it in a pot of its own. All the way down here, I have a cutting that I ended up sticking in, and unfortunately my dog ended up biting some of it off, and like I said, he was perfectly fine, but I was really worried that the cutting wasn't going to take, but luckily it did, and it sprouted a new leaf. leaf. So this one is staked up on a piece of wood that I found. They're not really going to latch onto the wood, but it is great just so they have something to hang up on. Rhaphidophores do not need a staking system all of the time. You can let them grow and trail down like any other vining plant. Next to my Rhaphidophora, I have this pothos. This is a Cebu blue pothos. You can see it looks a little bit different from the normal pothos, the green pothos that you are used to seeing, but the Cebu blue is a pothos. You can see it is vined down. This is another one that you could definitely propagate or stake up. It is a very easy growing plant. It does not need a lot of water, and neither does this Rhaphidophora. So this Cebu blue pothos I've had for a few years. I actually found it at Walmart, and when I first got it, and when I first got it, it was maybe up to here or so, and it has trailed down so much. I take cuttings from it all of the time, but this one does not need a lot of water at all. I just have it right here next to the TV. It is not a lot of fuss, and it also does not attract a lot of bugs. Over here is my Monstera plant. I picked this up from Home Depot, and once again, this is an east facing window. It sits right up against the window, and oh my gosh, how beautiful is it? Look how gigantic these leaves are compared to my hand, and it even has a new leaf popping out right here. So a couple of days ago, it sent out this really long root. I was so surprised that it sent it out. There was also one right here. This is very normal for Monstera plants, but Monsteras are great plants if you are looking for a bigger plant, just like the peace lily. You can see that they take up a lot of space, and honestly, I do not think they require a lot of care. A lot of people say that this is a low light plant, but I don't know, I find that it is better to put it in front of a bright light situation, but if you do have to put it in a low light situation, it will survive. I have one upstairs that is in a low light situation, and it's doing perfectly fine, but since this one is so big, I do like to put it directly in front of the light. Monsteras really do not require a lot of water, but the more that they mature, you can see that this is kind of what their leaves will look like when they are very immature plants, and then when they start to grow up, they will get these slits in their leaves, or fenestrations as they're called. This is also called a split leaf philodendron, if you've seen it under that name, but Monstera deliciosa is the scientific name. Okay, so let's look at the last plant in the living room right here. So right here on our fireplace, we have a heartleaf philodendron. This one has grown so much, and I figured that it's just because it is right in front of this east facing window, and there is also a north facing window on that side, but it has trailed along the entire length of our mantle. It really does not need a lot of water. The only thing that I really struggle with philodendrons is getting their leaf to get really big. You can see how big this leaf is compared to how tiny some of these are. I know it might need more light, but it is directly in front of an east facing window. So I'm really just not sure what to do. I know maybe staking it up might help, but if you have any tips on how I can get my philodendron to produce bigger leaves, it will really be helpful. But those are all of the plants in my living room. So let's head into the bedroom. Okay, so now we're in the downstairs bedroom. This is our guest bedroom, and I keep a lot of plants in here just because no one's really staying in here. But this is a beautiful big east facing window, so it does get, like I said, get a lot of morning light. So let's look around and see all of the plants that I have in here. Okay, so down on the floor right here, I have a snake plant. Snake plants are one of the most popular plants out there, along with pothos as well as philodendron. Snake plants are super easy. I have honestly not watered this plant in maybe a month or so, and it is doing great. I will say that if you find that your snake plant's leaves are super skinny and leggy and flopping over, it honestly means that they need more light. I know that snake plants are often advertised as a low light houseplant. You can stick it in a closet. Actually, that's really not true. I have found that my snake plants tend to suffer if they really don't get adequate amount of light. So make sure that if yours are getting super skinny leaves and are not like the big strong leaves, that they do need a little bit more light. This one honestly could use more light because it's not really producing a lot, but I like it in this corner next to my desk, so I'm just going to leave it for now. Okay, so on my desk I have this Easter cactus. I think it's an Easter cactus, but there are also Christmas cactus as well as Thanksgiving cactus. There may be another one, but I'm not sure. But anyways, the reason why I think this is an Easter cactus is because it bloomed in April for my birthday, and then it bloomed again just now. It just started producing all of these flowers. You can see how beautiful they are. So I'm thinking it's an Easter cactus, but I will have to look it up. I will have all of the plant names that I'm talking about listed down below, but this one is super low maintenance. This is also another one that you can propagate. I water it anytime I'm watering my other plants, and it's really nice just to sit on my desk. Okay, so down on the floor, you can see my cactus in the background. I have my fiddle leaf fig tree. These are super, super popular right now. I see them at all the big box stores, and they are honestly really, really expensive. I got mine for a birthday gift, so I could not pull the plug in spending the amount of money that a lot of people do for these plants, but I don't judge. But this plant is super, super finicky. If you put it in a location that it likes and it starts to grow, just leave it there. Do not move it, because if you move it next to an air draft, if you move it in general, if you move it and it has to readjust to the space that it's in, it's going to start losing leaves and it looks really ugly and it starts to have brown tips. Luckily, I have avoided a lot of the brown tips that I see a lot on TikTok, but unfortunately, I looked at my plant the other day and there were mealybugs all over it. If you've never seen a mealybug, honestly, you will notice that your plant will start to decline. And if you really look at the leaves, you can see little tiny bugs crawling all over them. And luckily I caught it in time before a lot of the leaves died, because once they start dying, it's honestly a little bit too late. Once I saw the bugs on there, I just brought it outside and I rinsed it down with the hose. I also sprayed it with neem oil, and I have not seen any of the mealybugs come back. But now that I know that this plant is susceptible to insect pressure, I'm a little bit worried, because now I have to keep my eye on it. And you know that I really don't like a high maintenance plant. This plant is already high maintenance, and the only reason why I'm keeping it is because I love it so much and it was a birthday present, but now I know that it can get insects on it. So I'm a little bit worried, but I'm gonna keep watching out for it, and I'm really gonna try to keep it alive. But let's move on to my plant shelf. So in this corner, you can see the window is right next to me. In this corner is a little bit dark, so I'm sorry about the lighting, but I'm gonna work my way from top to bottom. I've had this plant shelf for a very long time. It's nothing special, it's just a regular shelf. But at the top, I have another pothos that I've plopped up here. I love the way that it just like vines down and hangs over it. It looks like hair almost. I absolutely love it. Once again, pothos are super easy to take care of. If you need a house plant to buy, just buy a pothos. Next, under here, I have my Calathea. This is a Warscewiczii. I think that's how it's pronounced. But I got this as a birthday present. Don't buy it. Just don't do it. Let me turn it around. It's just very hard to take care of. You can see a lot of the leaves are dying off, and the only reason why I keep it is because it is constantly pushing new leaves. But it is a type of prayer plant. That means that it opens up during the day and then kind of closes down at night. It does need moist soil, and like I said, it's always producing a new leaf, so I want to keep it. But you can see that the tips are brown. It just doesn't look great. There is a fungus gnat flying around it right now. I don't know, it just doesn't look great. So if you see this plant, I know they are super beautiful, and that's the reason why a lot of people buy Calatheas, but just don't buy them. I don't understand why they even sell them as houseplants. I know they're beautiful, but I can't even keep this one alive. Okay, so down here on the last level, I have 3 plants in 3 identical pots. First of all, I have a cutting of a Monstera Adansonii. I will show you the mother plant when I get upstairs. Absolutely in love with this, one of my favorite plants. It is also called a Swiss cheese vine, I think, but Monstera Adansonii, I will talk about them a little bit more when I get upstairs and show you the mother plant. Next, I have, this is a Pothos N Joy, I think it's an N Joy, because it could be a pearls and jade. I can never tell the two apart because they look so similar. But once again, this is another type of pothos plant. This one really does not grow that much. She's just chilling. She just sits there. She just really doesn't do much. Next, I have another pothos cutting that I ended up potting up. This was one of the cuttings that I actually took and propagated, so it's set in my window in the kitchen for a very long time, and then I potted it up. Look how beautiful she is. Once again, it's another pothos. If you don't have one, go out and buy you one. The last plant that I have in this room is actually on a lamp that I got from Target, but on this shelf I have another philodendron. Now, I've already talked about heartleaf philodendrons back on the mantle, but this is another one. I will say that if you have not gotten plastic liners for all of your pots, I know that a lot of people sell saucers that come with terracotta pots, but these little plastic liners are super great. They hold a lot of water, just so you don't have to bring all of your plants to the bathtub or the sink every time you water them. I think that getting all of these plastic liners, they are super cheap, so you really just get a bunch of them and you can stick them under all of your plants, and you don't have to worry about them ruining your books or your coffee tables or anything like that. So those are all of the plants in my downstairs bedroom. Next, we're going to head upstairs and look at those plants. So before we go upstairs, I wanted to stop and show you the other peace lily that I have. Unfortunately, no flowers on it yet, but I think it's gonna bloom soon. I'm hoping that it is. This is just another one that I have in a terracotta pot. Also, I'm going to show you the other plant that I have up on these shelves. So you can see that my dining room is down there, and then up on these shelves that we have, these built-in shelves, I have one more pothos. It sits in front of a west-facing window. I honestly want to fill this entire section up with plants, but I'm hoping that the leaves kind of trail down and I can kind of start sticking them on the walls a little bit. I think this is a great place to put plants. I love our built-in cabinets, and I love that it's in front of a west-facing window. Okay, let's go upstairs. Okay, so at the top of the stairs, we have a loft area. We really don't have much going on in here, but I do take the opportunity to put a lot of plants in this area. We have a north-facing window behind me as well as one right here. So these plants can handle a lot of low light situations. All of the plants in here do very well in here. So if you're looking for low light plants, definitely pick any of these. Okay, so let's look at all of them. Okay, so starting off down on the floor, I have a plant shelf. Now this is an actual plant shelf. I got it for my birthday, but it is from Amazon. It just has these little tiers where you can place different plants. Right over here, I have a scindapsus. This is another beautiful alternative to a pothos plant. You don't see them very often, so when you do, make sure that you snag one up. I found this one actually at Walmart. Next, I have another snake plant. Right here is a beautiful umbrella tree or a Schefflera. Unfortunately, it did have scale on it and I didn't notice it in time, so it really did take me a long time to get it right back to normal. Scale are little bugs. They kind of just like, they don't crawl around, they just like get stuck on the leaves, and you kind of have to just peel them off. It's not like you can just wipe them away. I actually used dish soap in a spray bottle diluted with a little bit of vinegar and sprayed it on there, and it seemed to help them out, but I did have to cut a lot of the leaves off. It was losing a lot of leaves, and for some reason I couldn't figure out why until I just took a closer look and realized it had scale. Next, on the bottom row, I have a bunch of propagations. These are cuttings of the Cebu pothos that was downstairs. Then I have, once again, another pothos plant. I don't have anything down in this pot, but if you do have a suggestion for me, make sure you leave it down below of a low light house plant that maybe I don't have in my care that you would love to see me get. This one is just a basket. There's nothing in here, but I do love this shelf. I love the color of it. I will try to find it and link it down below. They're not paying me or anything like that. I just want to link it down below if you are looking for a plant shelf. Also above my plant shelf, I have a pothos in a macrame hanger. So spinning you guys completely around, you can see I have the same thing repeated on this side. So let's look at the plant down here. Down here, I have a Monstera. This one is a lot younger than the one that I already have downstairs, but there are some fenestrations in the leaves, but actually I got this one from a plant nursery. They were having a sale. They were saying that this one was marked off just because it needed a little extra care. And anytime that I can find a deal on plants, I will take it. I have a stake that I put in just to hold it up. The one downstairs is actually holding its own weight. It hasn't need to be staked up yet, but when that time comes, I definitely will. So I have a stake in it, and I've just tied it just because it was leaning a little bit, but for a while it wasn't producing any leaves. So I thought that maybe this area was a little bit too dark, but it is actually producing a new little leaf for me, so I am super excited about it. This is the best part about the house. These are planter boxes that were already installed in the house when we first moved in. I have a ton of pothos in them, but it's a little bit hard to see. You can see downstairs is the living room. We're actually gonna go downstairs and I can talk about them a little bit better. So you can see that the first three are all pothos. They are the regular green pothos that you normally see. Next over here, there's another variety of pothos. This is a marble queen pothos. It has the white and green variegation on the leaves. And then over here is a lemon lime or neon pothos. I've seen them listed as both, but I think it's a neon pothos. This one does not need a lot of light at all. And honestly, when I put it too close to the window, it starts to burn, it starts to yellow, and the leaves start to fall off. So you can see how far away it is from this north facing window. It is almost 12 to 15 feet away, and it is still doing beautifully. I do not water these plants a lot, but once again, I do have plastic trays or saucers underneath all of them, so I don't have to take them out and move them and jostle them around when I'm ready to water them. Okay, back upstairs. Okay, so now we are in our bedroom. This is where we sleep. So we do not like having a lot of plants in here, but I do have a few just because this is another east facing window and I really want to take advantage of the sunlight. Okay, so right here next to our east facing window, we have the beautiful rubber tree plant, or just a rubber plant. I love this plant so much, and I love it even more because it just started to produce new leaves. I don't know what happened, but I did start to water it a lot more. I realized that being in this terracotta pot, it was was losing a significant amount of water, and all of a sudden it started producing leaves. For a long time it was not really growing. It wasn't dying, but it wasn't growing for quite a while, and then all of a sudden it produced 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a new one growing right here, 7, and then there's already another one about to pop out, 8 leaves. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, which has been giving it a lot of water. Rubber trees grow very, very slowly. If you've seen, they do not produce a lot of leaves over and over and over again. This is a rarity. I'm not really sure if it's just going through a growth spurt or what, but for the past few years that I've had it, it has not grown at all. Rubber trees have these beautiful deep green leaves. There's also a variegated kind, and those grow just as less. You honestly need to put them out in bright direct sunlight to get them to grow a lot. I prefer having this in our bedroom. I understand that people will say, oh, if you want it to grow, just put it outside, but I'm not going to put it outside. So that is what it is, but I do love having it in our bedroom. I love the color, I love the shape, and I love how big it is. Okay, so the very last plant on our tour is the Monstera Adansonii. I'm honestly saving the best for last. This is one of my very favorite house plants. I just love the fenestrations in the leaves. I love how big they get. This is a plant that you can propagate. This is a plant that you can take cuttings from and grow more. Like you saw, I have the propagations for this one downstairs. This is another one that you can stake up or let it grow down. This one was on a trellis for a very long time, and then I ended up taking it off. The first Monstera that I actually got, I ended up killing, so I was super determined to keep the next one alive, and this one has been doing great. I would not say that these are super beginner friendly, just because they are susceptible to insect pressure, and sometimes they do need a little bit more humidity, but this one is quite okay in front of our east facing window. But if you do happen to get your hands on one, I would say that you got this. It's not a huge challenge. It's not like the Calathea that I have downstairs. This one you can handle. I do not water it very often, just when the leaves are a little wilted, maybe every 1 to 2 weeks or so. And once again, I have that plastic saucer on it so I can keep it on my nightstand. So with that, that is the end of my plant tour. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I know that you guys love to watch them. If you are interested in seeing more houseplant tours, I definitely have a playlist already created for you, ready to go. I will do a walkthrough and show you all of the plants that I have without me in them, just so you can get a good look at them and you can see them. But that does it for today's video. I post new videos every single Wednesday. If you have made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. When you subscribe, when you like, when you comment, it really helps out a small YouTube channel like mine. But my voice kind of like cracked a little bit. I promise I'm not emotional. Anyways, it really helps out a small YouTube channel like mine. But I post videos every single Wednesday. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.